Well, hello everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome back to Jitsu 2000 here today. I'm back. I've got an interesting video for you today. I'm going to talk about Alone Season 5 Episode 2. So if you haven't seen that episode, I highly recommend that you turn this video off. It will contain spoilers, and I don't want to ruin your Alone experience. So let's get started. The quote comes on the screen. I love these quotes. It says, "All men make mistakes, but only wise men learn from their mistakes." Winston Churchill. I have a small amount of notes here that I'm going to be looking at. Let's get started. We're on day 4. Larry, he catches a Siberian chipmunk. Pretty cool. So he's skinning the chipmunk, and it shows him making the decision to leave the guts and stuff behind to see if anything comes in for them. Now, originally my thought was, why would you do that, man? Because personally I would have thought that he would have used those internals as bait, maybe for his bird trap or his snares or maybe fishing. But then another thought crosses my mind, and it's thinking, well, maybe Larry is a step above that in his thoughts. Maybe he's thinking, let's see what kind of predators come in, and he's maybe thinking about hunting, okay, these predators. So maybe it is bait that he's leaving behind. Now, he lost 32 pounds when he was on Vancouver Island. He was on season 2. He did 64 days. Let's move forward. We're going to talk about Dave. We're on day 5 now, and Dave's doing some fly fishing. Pretty cool, and he mentioned that he had caught 36 trout while he was in Patagonia, and he didn't eat a lot of them. He was trying to hoard the food. So he mentions very strongly that he's not going to do that on this episode, or this season rather. So it kind of comes across, and he's kind of got the, he's got his bow out, and he's really doing the whole acting thing, like I'm the big hunter, And then he lets an arrow go, and I'm thinking, oh yeah, this is all show. He's not gonna, but he does hit something. He hits a grouse with a bow. So it was a legit shot. I mean, he actually shot a grouse, a big bird, with a bow. That's a pretty significant thing to accomplish. And I'm noticing that he is using a Mora knife. Mora Companion, what it looked like to me. Okay, we're talking about Larry again. He decides that he's going to make a spring snare trap where he pulls down a tree as an engine, and I don't know what kind of trigger he was using. I like using a wishbone trigger, which I think that was smart of him to put together a spring snare. He was a little frustrated getting trigger set and stuff like that. Sometimes those can be hard, and he was talking about the temperatures being real hot outside, which makes me laugh because I live in Arizona, because the annotation on the screen says that it was getting, they have temperatures in the 80s in the summertime, and I'm like, it gets when I work west and I go to Needles, it gets to 125. So hot, 80 degrees, I'd be like, really? Come on. And I'm not knocking Larry. I just think it's funny because I live in Arizona and I'm used to these temperatures. So he put some charcoal on his nose and charcoal under his eyes. Really cool, good, smart idea. It's almost the same equivalent as wearing sunglasses, because the sunlight will draw low, and the charcoal on his nose, I think he was using it as a means of not getting sunburn on his nose. So very smart strategy by Larry right there. And I noticed that he was kind of acting a little bit, like playing a little drama and kind of getting a little happy. But apparently that's what they want on the show. Maybe I'm too boring, right? I don't know. So then I noticed that he has a water bottle, plastic water bottle. So, which made me think, maybe he found that somewhere on the landscape. Now, in previous seasons, they've said that anything that you find is fair game for you to incorporate into, you know, whatever you're going to use it for. Then he hears a bunch of wolves, and it sounds like they're close, and it sounds like maybe they made a kill or something. So he's sensitive to that. He gets up and he starts to go explore. Doesn't really see anything, but when it comes to wolves, wolves are pack animals. They hunt in packs. They are team players. They work together as a unit. You'll get 10, 20, 30 wolves, and they will not hesitate hitting a large game animal. You know, maybe an elk, you know, a deer. They can hit even a moose, a caribou, big animals. So in Mongolia, I would not doubt that the wolves, which could go in upwards of 150 pounds each, I would not doubt for 1 second that they would not hesitate going after a man. Okay, so pretty crazy. Now, let's talk about his shelter briefly. From what I could see, he had a nice shelter. Let's move forward. We're going to talk about Brad, young guy, 24 years old. He's got a log cabin type shelter that he's building, and it looks nice. And let's not forget, we're on day 5, you know, and he's already talking about how he's noticing, oh, I'm getting skinnier, losing weight. Come on, man. It's day 5. You're not losing that much weight yet. We ain't even got started yet. He made a gill net, which I thought was super cool, and he decides to set some snares. And he set like 50 snares. And I'm not picking on him. Please don't think I'm picking on him, because I'm not. He's out there in Mongolia. I'm not. I'm just saying some things that I observed. One of the things that I noticed was it looked like, from my vision of what I could see on the screen, it looked like he'd never set a snare in his life. Because the way he wrapped the wire, there was no termination on the wire, which means to me that if something got caught and pulled, they would undo the wire and get out. And I also noticed that he didn't use any bait in the snares, and he didn't channel the animals into the snares. Now, again, I'm not the one out there, so I can't really be too critical of him, but I would have thought that somebody that goes all the way across, you know, the world to Mongolia on a survival show would have had a little more skill than that, personally. I'm just saying. I'm not trying to knock him down. He also heard some wolves in the background and things of that nature. So let's move forward. We're going to talk about Brit. I really like Brit. He's cool. Now he's talking about, I'm not leaving until somebody tells me I'm leaving. And he said that a couple times now in this episode alone. Not alone, but in this single episode is what I'm trying to say. He catches a big old fat grasshopper and he decides to cook it, and he's kind of, let's eat it. Well, I would have been doing the same thing. I would have been hesitating on eating this thing. So when it comes to catching insects and bugs and things like that, a lot of them carry parasites, so it's very important to cook them. And he did. So Brit shows some smarts there. Let's move forward. Day 7, we're talking about Brad again. So he goes out and he checks his traps. He didn't have nothing on his traps, his snares. He checks a fishing line that he had stringing across, and there was nothing. And which makes me remember that he had talked about making a gill net. I don't know, I think it was last episode, might have been this episode, I can't remember. But he has a gill net that he made. So my big question was, why didn't he employ that gill net? Because honestly, I think if he would, that he would be pleasantly surprised in the result of what this gill net would produce. I think it would hit, I really do. I could be wrong though, but I think, why didn't he set his gill net? I also was thinking, you know, there could have been an opportunity for a trout line. But anyway, I'm not knocking the guy. But then he makes a comment and he says, dinner with my family sounds better than winning $500,000. And he decides to tap out. It's day 7, which kind of frustrates me, you know, because I'm like, dang, man, this is something I really want to do. And I'm watching this guy get this huge monumental opportunity, and then he taps. You know, but to give him credit, he did go out there and he did give it 7 days, and he did have a wonderful shelter and things like that. So, and then he says, you know, I had much more things that I could have showed. There was much more things I wanted to do. I wasn't at my rock bottom, you know, and things like that. And I wanted to leave on good terms. I wanted to leave liking Mongolia, basically. And for me personally, I'm kind of the opposite of all of that. I'm almost like, you know, they would have had to tell me I was done. I would have wanted to hate the place, like, piss on you, Mongolia. You know, I would have kind of wanted to leave on those terms. Meaning that I tried my very, very best. And I'm not knocking him. I know I'm kind of getting critical here, but I'm trying to be cool to all these people because they're out there doing it and for our entertainment. They're putting themselves out there and their livelihood out there for us. So, you know, I got to give him some props. He did good. Let's move forward. We're still on day 7. We're talking about Brit. Catches 4 fish, 4 graylings, and he decides to make a fish holding tank, which sounds like a good idea. Like, yeah, we're gonna put these fish out here and then we'll come back tomorrow and see what's going on. Well, of course, day 8 now. We're back at Brit. We're talking about Brit again. Of course, he had a good meal, so he ate one of the fish, I'm guessing. And then, so day 8, he goes to check in the morning. He checks his fish trap or his fish tank, and all of his fish are gone. And knowing Brit, you know, he owned it right away. He's like, that was stupid. I was an idiot for doing it, blah, blah, blah. He owned it. He took complete ownership of it, which is cool because he's not sitting out there acting like he's Mr. Survival. He owned it. He's like, yeah, I screwed up. Bad decision. He owned it. So the reason I'm saying that so much is because I get the feeling that Brit is the type of person that will learn from this experience. And just like that quote at the beginning where it says, all men make mistakes, but only wise men will learn from their mistakes. Winston Churchill, right? I think that's in reference to Brit. I think Brit's not done. And he mentions it again. He says, I'm not ready to leave until somebody tells me I'm going to leave. My family has told me to stay or whatever. So he lost the fish, which is, you know, and there was blood around it and stuff, so he knows that something ate the fish. So I'm kind of wondering if he's going to go on the hunt for whatever predators are kind of snooping around his fish. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. So this was a great episode. So we're down to 8 people. Carly has tapped, unfortunately, and Brad has tapped. Now there's, in my humble opinion, there is a huge monumental difference between Carly tapping and Brad tapping. Carly, yeah, Brad made it longer than Carly did, but Carly's tap was legit. She had got a hook, maybe from being a bit careless in fishing. The fish was wobbling and the hook jumped out. Things like that happen. Unfortunate things like that happen to good people. That does not take anything away from her survival skills, and it doesn't put Brad above her, in my opinion. I think Carly's way more survivalist than Brad. No offense, Brad. I love you, man, but damn, that's it. So folks, I want to say thank you for watching me today on this video on my thoughts on Season 5, Episode 2. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please feel free to leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think. If you like the type of content that you see on my channel, please subscribe. Hit that bell so you get notifications. And until next time, again, thanks for watching. I hope you have a beautiful day, and we'll see you next week for Episode 3. I will be on vacation, so I don't know when I'm going to update that video. I'm going to be out in the woods shooting my June overnighter in New Mexico, and I don't know how close I'll be to internet and things of that nature, so please bear with me on that. We'll see you later. Bye.